From inside the State Champs Sports Network studios, my name is Jeremy Otto, and welcome to the second episode of State Champs Ohio Extra Point. This program is presented by Lawrence Technological University. Lawrence Tech wants you to recruit yourself. Just go to LTUathletics.com and click on the Recruit Yourself link. Academic and athletic scholarships are available in over 24 varsity sports, including football. Well, we also want to encourage you to check out our Extra Point podcast, available everywhere you listen to podcasts. Week 1 featured an interesting recruiting conversation. This week, we'll have the chance to speak with the Executive Director of the OHSAA in Episode 2. Stick around for a sneak peek later in the show. Well, for a whole list of the various State Champs podcasts as well, you can follow us on Spreaker. There's a ton there. In a rematch of the 2019 Division I State Final, the Elder Panthers traveled to Pickerington Central. Elder kicked off the scoring early with a field goal, but Orlando Camara would strike shortly thereafter. Then Braden Mantooth connected with Casey Middendorf as the Tigers rode a 14-3 lead into the locker room. Elder responded in the third, however. Ben Hamilton and Andrew Harp combined for this score. The Tigers got creative next and converted this great reverse play. They would take the win 28-10. Nearby, the Battle of Worthington commenced as the Cardinals from Thomas Worthington took on Worthington Kilbourne. The Cards snatched the lead in the second with a minute to go. Anthony Bruyu finds the end zone from 9 yards out, pushing the score to 7-3. The third featured back-to-back picks, and it's Vernon Agakwin here, returning it a dazzling 90 yards for the tally. Thomas Worthington secured their third win in the last 4 years in this matchup, beating the Wolves 21-10. To Cincinnati we go. Despite several weather delays in the area, the game quality certainly wasn't affected. The Monroe Hornets were visiting the Ross Rams. The Hornets got on the board first thanks to this burning speed of Ryan Miles, rumbling 65 yards for the score. The Rams would tie it up heading into the break as Braden Frostman hits Aiden Brow. In the second half, Frostman would go off for 2 more scores on the ground, leading Ross to a 21-14 win over Monroe. And finally, Centerville traveled south to face Mason. The Elks secured a safety and field goal to open the scoring before Mason's QB Larson Brown found Quentin Taylor, works his way all the way down the sideline, taking the lead 7-5. And then check out this determination here as Saeed Garnett gets this Brown pass and fights his way into the end zone, taking a 14-5 lead. Centerville had an answer though. Kobe Castor gets the interception here and brings it all the way down inside the 5, which in the end led to a Cameron Smith touchdown. They would recover the onside kick to set up a 46-yard Jackson Corville field goal attempt. He nails it, and the Elks hammer down a 15-14 Week 2 win. We were also in the house as Turpin took on Dublin Kaufman, and as Independence faced Pepper Pike Orange. You can find those highlights across all of our social media platforms at State Champs OH. While Doug Youth, the Executive Director of the OHSAA, was on our Extra Point podcast this week, he shared his thoughts on the state championships returning to Canton. Talking with Doug Youth, the Executive Director of the OHSAA. Glad he could be with us here today on our State Champs Ohio Extra Point podcast, Episode 2 here today. I want to hit on, your state championships, because that's such a critical part of, not only what the OHSAA does on any level in any sport, but had to shift it again over to Canton, Ohio. I know that's a place you guys are excited to be back at, and I think something that gravitated towards me is a quote that I saw in the paper: we want to be somewhere that wants us. Kind of, explain that for us.
Yeah, we want to be not just a facility, and we are the state. We recognize that we are the state that has the Hall of Fame in it, where the careers of legends are preserved and kept alive, and right here in Canton, Ohio, right in Ohio here. And so, and everything that they've done to that stadium. If you haven't been there I told people the other day, if you haven't been there in the last 6 months, you haven't been there. And then if you haven't been there in the last month, you probably haven't been there, because things just changed there. They've really improved that. And it's very important to Mr. Baker, the director of the Hall of Fame, and his staff, that they have high school student athletes perform there, and not just the student athletes, their peers that come to watch the games, and in the communities. And, number one thing we want is a wow factor for our state tournaments. And many of our if you look at 3 tournaments just in the fall, we're at the Hall of Fame, a professional experience there. We're in Cincinnati for tennis at the Lindor Center that just a week or so ago had the professional tour there. You'd probably have to go to New York City before you found a better center than that. It's a fantastic center. And then our soccer is going to play at the new Crew Stadium. So those are 3 events that buses pull up to that kids will say wow before they even get off that bus. And then the experience there. And then the piece of it is for us, we want to be somewhere where somebody wants us. The Stark County Visitors Bureau, the City of Canton, the Hall of Fame. There is no question that they want our folks there, and the way they welcome us there and open the doors for us, and then share in that their commitment to giving our student athletes the best experience that they possibly can in their stadium. And they want that wow factor. And just a chance to go in the Hall of Fame, to play where legends go to, and play and to carry on their legacies and those type of things. So again, makes sense in Ohio for us to be there.
A full slate of games for you coming in week 3 here on State Champs Ohio Extra Point. We'll be covering IMG Academy as they come to Cincinnati to face LaSalle. In the Columbus area, the Panthers from Hilliard Derby are taking on the Wildcats of Westerville South. The Panthers from Pickerington, how about all these Panthers North, hosting Marysville in a non-conference matchup as well. In Cleveland, we've got Elyria Catholic heading to take on the Middies of Midview, and a special Thursday night matchup before the holiday as Valley Forge is hosting the Rocky River Pirates. That's our show this week. I want to thank our sponsor, Lawrence Technological University. Recruit yourself at LTU Athletics.com. I'm Jeremy Otto. We'll see you next week.